What's up, everyone? Tonight on the Debrief, Rico and myself are going to be talking everything NXT and AEW. Diamond Mine finally makes their debut on NXT by attacking the Cruiserweight champion. Adam Cole also attacks Kyle O'Reilly in anticipation to the Great American Bash. And then on AEW, we had the first ever MMA Cage Fight, Jake Hager and Wardlow. We're going to jump all into it tonight on the Debrief. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Debrief. I am your host, Jose G, and next to me is the top Chico himself, Rico el Glorioso, the guy that makes everything glorious, and sporting the Roderick Strong t-shirt in the return of the Messiah of the Backbreaker. How are you been, bro?
I've been good, man. Look, wrestling is starting to pick up again. You can feel it. We're getting closer now. We're already on the road to Money in the Bank, 4 weeks away, and we're starting to feel a turnaround. I'm starting to feel that bug, especially next month being when WWE and AEW go on the road. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the electricity. I'm feeling the energy, and I'm feeling some great shows that we just had this past week.
Yeah, man, both shows were very good, and we're going to jump into all you need to know of what went down in NXT and AEW. Before we jump in, make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Major changes in programming here on when it comes to our interviews and video. We're going to start shifting a lot of our exclusive interviews and Vince Russo content. We're going to be slowly making a transition to YouTube exclusive only. So if you're not doing it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a notification bell. Smash that so you always know when we drop a brand new video and have a new live stream just like this one. Monday nights, we got Legion of Raw with Vince Russo and Chris Featherstone. Wednesday nights, we got Rico and myself here on the Debrief. Friday nights, Dirty Dutch Mantel with SP3 and Rick Cucino on Smack Talk, breaking down SmackDown. So we got tons of content for you guys, so make sure you are subscribing. And if you can't watch all of the content, listen to our content with the podcast. Subscribe to our podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, wherever you get your content and your podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling. So, Rico, we had an awesome NXT. Even though the viewership was a little lower than last week, I thought this was a real solid NXT with that main event that we had. Considerably a dream match in the community of the internet wrestling community. Kyle O'Reilly, Kushida. I thought it blew the roof off. I thought that was an excellent match. It was a non-title match. Kyle O'Reilly stood on top at the end. However, it was what happened in the closing with Adam Cole attacking Kyle O'Reilly and then the ambush on Kushida by the debuting faction known as Diamond Mine, finally making their much anticipated debut. And we find out that the leader of Diamond Mine is one ex-Undisputed Era member, Roderick Strong. What are your thoughts on this? Are you hyped up to see Diamond Mine? Are you all about it?
You know what? Because it's NXT, yes. I think I'm willing to give them a chance because they haven't let us down, especially with Undisputed Era when first Adam Cole and then Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly came out of nowhere attacking Drew McIntyre. And you know what? Now the fallout of the Undisputed Era, now it's time for Roderick Strong to step into that leadership role. And he's going to have the mouthpiece in Malcolm Bivens. So that's going to be a huge part for him, especially, he does some great mic work, but to really start selling some of the ideas and some of the hypes and feuds, you can use a mouthpiece like Malcolm Bivens. He's going to be amazing as their, essentially their manager. And then we have Tyler Rust. So it was there. It
was there the entire time.
Diamonds in the Rust. We didn't even think about that. Diamond Mine could have Tyler Rust, could have Roderick Strong. We were thinking it could be Marina Shafir because she is one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA. So it's kind of in her wheelhouse. And she is still signed by WWE, even though they let go of Jessamine Duke. So hopefully we'll see her get involved also. And then who was the Asian gentleman? I try to remember.
Hideki Suzuki.
There you go. And he was just everybody's like facing the camera, and then he was like trying to be the cool guy, like at an angle, just like looking off. Like, he's like trying to be a Final Fantasy character.
like a 90s R&B band, boy band.
Yeah, right. Everyone should be like in a different corner, different poses. Like that's what they should have done. But no, they made an immediate impact attacking, like you said, Kushida and Kyle O'Reilly. Of course, Adam Cole getting involved too. But they're staking their claim here. So hopefully we'll get another great faction like we got with Undisputed Era. And let's see what Roderick Strong can do without the hair. Now that he buzzed it all the way down instead of that long hair that he had before. And see if he got over his fears of enclosed spaces and trunks of cars from Dexter Lumis. So we'll see what he can do. I'm willing to give it a shot.
I'm certainly excited to see what these guys can do. And this is also coming off the reports of Sean Ross Sapp, who reported that NXT is looking to grow their cruiserweight division or pay more attention to it. So I think this is a really good way to kind of, bring up the prestige of the cruiserweight title. And Roderick Strong, man, it's nothing else to say, man. Guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, make sure you're hitting that share button. If you're watching us on Facebook, share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group and tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in the conversation. Sound off in the comments what you guys thought of the debut of Diamond Mine. Was it what you thought? A lot of people were thinking it was going to be Tessa Blanchard with DDP, but that didn't happen. Some other people thought that it was going to be a show, like a segment, like a Raw Underground type of Raw Underground type of deal. So I want to get your thoughts. Chime it in. Sound off in the comments. Your comments will be live on screen, so make sure you guys are participating in the conversation and engage with the show. Hit that like button, that share button. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If it's making you mad, show us the mad emoji. It doesn't matter. Make sure you are engaging with the show. But I thought that was a really good closing segment to hype up yet another faction for NXT. Now that NXT is growing their factions.
Man, yeah, right. Again, they're slowly becoming the New Japan of the WWE with all the factions here. But you're talking about adding talent to this cruiserweight division. That was a guy I was trying to remember last week, and I'm sorry I didn't remember. I'm going to remember now. Carmelo Hayes, man. Yes. Carmelo Hayes, once again, like that shows how much faith they have in him to go against Kushida as his debuting match, and his next match is against Adam Cole, baby. And he came in
off the bat, bro.
Oh, he came in, he staked his claim, even though he pull little John Cena.
He did
with the ruthless aggression. But he went after Adam Cole, and he had another great match. He's gonna be a cruiserweight champion much sooner rather than later, man. If he keeps this up.
I think the way that this guy's going right now, I mean, taking on Kushida on your debut and then taking on Adam Cole for your second match. If he keeps up, having these big matches and putting on the show, this guy's going to be a top guy soon, like within the next few years. So yeah, my hat's off, dude. Carmelo Hayes killed it last night.
Mm-hmm. Even though he did get pinned after he got hit with the Panama City Sunrise.
We knew that was gonna. Oh, but that was a great sell though.
Oh, when he like spiked himself and then he just like slowly fell over. Oh, so good, man. They got some untapped potential. They can keep debuting guys like this.
Oh, absolutely, man. But NXT didn't stop there, man. We had a great tag team matchup. We had Io Shirai, former NXT Women's Champion, Zoe Stark teaming up to go up against the Robert Stone brand, Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea. And Io and Zoe get the win. But it was what happened afterwards, which broke into absolute chaos in the women's tag team division. After the match, the way Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, they all came out to drop a promo on why they should be the number one contenders. With Stark and Shirai still in the ring, then it was an all-out brawl afterwards. Candace and Indy were all ringside, just kind of looking upon what's going on. They just backed up. Samoa Joe came in to call for security, which, dude, if you're going to be the head of security, you really need to have a control over your women's. He had no control over that situation whatsoever.
I mean, it's not like he's going to choke out Candace or Indy like he did Adam Cole last week. So it's kind of like the same thing what happened with Miro and like Penelope Ford. Like the Varsity Blondes came out and they were trying to help, but like, Penelope Ford still had whatever heart like still locked in the Indian Deathlock, and they can't do anything. What are they gonna do? They're gonna punch or hit Penelope Ford. They were gonna do that. Samoa Joe can't do the same thing either. So he needs to have a number two. and this should be Beth Phoenix. Like when that happens, she should be able to like put down her headphones and just go and help Samoa Joe.
So Beth Phoenix should be the backup, like the women's enforcer.
Yeah, just like solid number 2, just in case the women get out of hand, so that you don't want to provoke Joe, and you don't want him to have to interfere with the women's side. So at least you can have Beth Phoenix, slam somebody.
That's not a bad idea. I actually really like that. And I can definitely get behind that. Another thing I can get behind here is the way, man. The way looks like a little face turn going on for good old Johnny Gargano. We saw the return of Johnny Wrestling last night at NXT, putting on what I considered was a takeover performance last night. He did a hell of a job in that tag team with Austin Theory, and Austin Theory had broken fingers to deal with because Pete Dunne had broken them earlier in the night, or messed with them early in the night, and he sold out the entire match. But the real winner of this match was Johnny Gargano. He was all over the place, and then he hit the one final beat to get the win. So this guy is absolutely on fire. I think he's going to be the next one to face Karrion Kross, as we saw later. Karrion Kross attacked him from behind. So I think they're probably on the way, if not already turned face. What do you think on this?
Yeah, especially with that promo that they cut in earlier. And I just thought everything that Johnny did was hilarious because, of course, they come in first and then they give out their promo while they should be, why he should be next in line for the title because he is Johnny Gargano and his 87-day reign and how great it was. And then out come Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. And he says, you know what? Nope, it's different now. This is a new era in NXT. I'm not going to be provoked into a match. And I'm putting the mic down. That's it. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Gently.
And him and Austin Theory just like, nope. We're not going to get into fights or anything like that because Samoa Joe's here. And then, of course, Austin Theory had to, do the point to Pete Dunne, and that's what got his fingers broken. But, yeah, I think this was a slight babyface turn. And this is great because of just the characters that they've already set up in the way. It's going to be again, they haven't done anything wrong. I love everything that they've been doing as the way, and I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with this babyface turn, especially if he is going to be the next one to face off against Karrion Kross for that NXT championship.
We'll find out in 2 weeks if they face each other at the Great American Bash. That's going to be on NXT. Dude, let's talk about the encore premiere of Frankie Monet. First, that entrance song, that theme song is absolute fire. Def Rebel is absolutely killing it with all the entrance theme songs right now on NXT and on the main roster. Number 2, we got to see the debut of now known as Elektra Lopez, formerly known as Carissa Rivera, which is her real name, from San Juan, Puerto Rico. This holds a special place in our heart. We've met and talked to Carissa in the past. So congratulations on making her NXT debut. Elektra Lopez had a good showing with Frankie, but Frankie's on a different level right now, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think she's gonna swoop the Robert Stone brand under her. Under Robert. I was just gonna
say we're gonna have another faction. We're about to have a women's faction led by Frankie Monet.
Yes.
All the factions, bro.
I want it. Have NXT the home of factions. No factions on the main roster. They're all on NXT. You want to be in a faction? You got to go to NXT.
Yeah, you have, and you can't be a singles competitor. You're gonna have to join a faction before you can actually truly compete on NXT. So you have to pick a side, whoever it's gonna be.
Let's see here. Jeff Samuel is saying, Jose, can you read my comment and ask your friend if you like that idea? He's saying, turn Johnny Face cool.
Is that the one he was looking at? Oh, I mean, I think that one was the one he was looking for.
All right, over here. Hey, Jose, NXT out of 10. I wouldn't mind Big E versus Lashley for the belt. But I want this. I want a big, good swerve for a draft Big E, turn on the New Day, and join Hurt Business. Nope. You got a story right there.
You lost me right there. The second you said break away from the New Day, no, that ain't happening. I'd rather see, as much as I want him to be a singles competitor right off the bat, I want to see Keith Lee. If anybody's going to join the Hurt Business alongside Bobby Lashley, it should be Keith Lee. And that'd be an amazing tag team. A true powerhouse stable. Even though it's going to be on Monday Night Raw, I wouldn't mind having Big E, feud with Bobby Lashley if he ever does make it, if he makes it back over to Raw. But at this point, nah, man, you cannot break up Big E and New Day. That's going to be the one faction that never breaks up, ever. Don't ever do it.
Well, man, that's all on Raw. We're still talking NXT here, and talking about factions as the factions keep growing on NXT. Hit Row.
Oh,
they had a match against Everrise, who I'm loving more by the day.
Everrise rules.
But shout out to the Adonis and Top Dollar, who looked amazing in that match. Took down Everrise. Then we had a backstage segment with Xia Li and Boa, who attacked Mercedes Martinez, and then they announced a mixed tag match because Jake Atlas got involved. Now he's part of the fight. So it looked like we got Jake Atlas and Mercedes Martinez taking on T and Shaw's Xia Li and Boa next week. And then we had the main event, which in my mind, in my eyes, I thought was an absolute classic. Kyle O'Reilly, Kushida. It was an instant classic. It was a clinic. It was, if you're a wrestling purist and you like watching grappling and dude, this match was technical wrestling. This match was it right there.
Oh yeah, it was. Those are two really good matches that we got to see yesterday, and that was that main event, and like you said, that tag match between The Way and Pete Dunne and Only Lorcan. Like, man, it's a shame that the viewership was down, even though they were hyping up
the playoffs, bro.
Yeah, and it's getting closer now. We're in the conference finals now, so we're getting closer towards the end here. But yeah, it just felt like they were trying to really build it up, especially around the debut of the Diamond Mine. We finally got to see what that is. But they also started hyping up for next week, where we're going to have a 3-way tag team match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, which is basically everybody that was in that brawl other than The Way. So it was going to be Shotzi and Ember, Dakota, and Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, and Zoe Stark. It's going to be Shotzi and Ember again, isn't it? Because we're still having this feud between Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai, which they made a very, poignant, made a point to show that there's still going to be a feud here between Io and Raquel. So, that's going to be another good match.
Could be. I mean, if Shotzi's healthy, I don't see why not. I mean, they wouldn't have brought her back if she wasn't healthy. So maybe, yeah, it could be them. I personally would like to see Raquel and Dakota probably get it again. But I think Shotzi and Ember make sense right now.
Yeah, just one more time until they decide to break up.
We got Philip Chauvin saying, no one wants to say hi to me. What's up, Philip?
What's up, Philip?
Thank you for joining, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're sharing. Sharing is caring. Let's answer some of your questions before we jump into AEW Dynamite from last Friday. Mickey James Boatwright saying, is Brock facing Bobby or Cena? Well, here's the thing, Mickey. We don't know yet. There's been so many different reports about Brock Lesnar. There's been multiple reports that there's been talks, and there's another report that has never been talks. So we don't know. Right now, what we can tell you, of the names that are being touted to return to the WWE in time for SummerSlam and other pay-per-views later on in the year are The Rock and John Cena. Those are the major names. Another one is Edge. Edge has already been with the company, but
Edge versus Seth Rollins is going to be great.
So those are the three names that are being discussed right now. As far as timeline, we're probably thinking John Cena, Roman Reigns as the marquee match for SummerSlam, but nothing is confirmed. That's just, what everybody is speculating and talking about. So, yeah, that's what's being discussed right now. Reading some more of your comments, Drew Davidson. Hi, Jose, how are you today, my guy? I'm doing good. I'm doing great, Drew. Thank you for joining us today. Randy Sam is saying, facts, Jose, but I hope Raquel and Dakota win. Let's see here. Reading some more of your comments. Anthony Bruno, I would like Big E and Bobby Lashley for the belt after SummerSlam. I think that will be a huge for his singles career. Everyone misses you from SmackDown, your family, my family, and friends. LZ, rest up. So, yeah. So, guys, keep your questions coming in. Sound off in the comments as we are discussing this week's AEW Dynamite.
Man.
From last Friday, we had the first ever cage fight.
Speaking of MMA guys like Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, how did you feel about this, Jose? I mean, it was taped beforehand because it was that cage where the ring was. I'm interested to see, as a man who commentates on a lot of these matches, and a huge fan of wrestling, obviously. How did you feel about this scripted MMA match?
Okay, so I have a lot of mixed feelings about it because I thought the setup was incredibly great. I thought it looked awesome. It looked the part. The feel was there. I thought it was something very original, very catchy. But if you're going to tell me that this is going to be an MMA fight under MMA rules, I'm expecting for these guys to swing all the way. Don't give me even though this is supposed to be a wrestling match and Wardlow is a wrestler, he's not an MMA fighter. Jake Hager, though, on the other hand, he's a bona fide MMA fighter, undefeated right now in Bellator. However, you could see Jake Hager was taking it so light on Wardlow on purpose. And it irked me because you're selling me this match as an MMA match, yet you have Jake Hager, who's a professional MMA fighter, who is doing everything in his control to make this fight look like a fight. And I don't think Wardlow even though Wardlow has judo training and boxing, I don't think his lack of cage experience, I don't think it helped him. I don't think he did some spots that I was like, oh, okay, that was cool. He suplexed him. But again, you sold me an MMA fight under MMA rules. I personally felt that I didn't get that.
I'm sorry. Did you never see head scissors in an MMA fight, Jose? The way that Wardlow did to Jake Hager? Have you never seen that? No? You took the word. Everything you said, it was exactly how I felt too. Of course, it makes sense. Feeling the same way. We're the same person, essentially. But yeah, what you said, the second when they said MMA rules, I was like, okay. And then they say, oh, this fight is sanctioned by AEW. And I was like, okay. And then the first round, it felt like you would see in an MMA fight when they were feeling each other out, throwing the jabs.
Yes.
I was like, okay, all right, I can see this. So we're going to have like an actual MMA fight.
That's how I felt in the first round. That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, okay. I'm getting interested. I'm like, okay. Right. And then when Hager popped Wardlow with that jab, because he popped him.
That was real. That was a shoot. That was not a work. He did his bell got rung, and you could tell right away that Wardlow's like, oh, okay. Those gloves.
Absolutely got popped in the mouth, bro. And then you saw Wardlow get his head back and touch his and he kind of gave him the look. He's like, you weren't supposed to do that, bro.
But he's got to remember, you're in there against a legit MMA fighter, which props to Hager, because I can only imagine being in there. You're in an octagon. Your instinct is to go MMA, to go Bellator. You want to unleash, but then you have to keep reminding yourself, nope. This is AEW. This is a scripted match. It's supposed to go a certain way, But yeah, I think that was the whole thing. Was they hooked us in at the beginning, and then as soon as Wardlow, he did a suplex, which is fine. But the second that he did a head scissors, I'm like, okay, you just lost me right there. I could tell they were holding back punches, obviously, because they're still trying to protect each other. The ground and pound was horrendous because they were doing wrestling punches. It lost me. It got me so excited. Like you said, MMA rules are all right. We can have an actual MMA fight, and then we got what we got, as to be expected in the second round. Jake Hager did win by submission, which also had me wondering if it went the full 3 rounds, what was going to happen afterwards? Because they said no judges. It's only knockout or submission. Yet you still have 3 5-minute rounds.
What would have happened at the end of the third round? They're both standing. Who would have judged? Who would be the judge?
No contest, I guess, automatically.
I don't know, man. Reading some of your comments, guys. So it looks like the viewers have different opinions than us, and that's fine. You guys can chime in the comments. But Chris Washington on YouTube is saying Wardlow versus Jake was something else. Fire. Great MMA match. I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or if he's being truthful. He's saying, I heard this was Jose's favorite MMA match. Better than Floyd. Hell yeah, it was better than Floyd versus Jake. At least I got head scissors takeover on this match, and I didn't get that in Lake Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather.
Made that match more entertaining. If somebody would have done a wrestling move in that boxing match, I would have been more entertained. That would have
Philip Chauvin, he's saying, I loved Hager versus Wardlow. Great MMA match. Again, I can't tell if he's being genuine or I can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Anywho, to each its own. You know, if you liked it, you liked it. I'm the guy that liked Raw Underground, and there's people that hated Raw Underground. So
they did something different. They did something different, and I thought that was cool that they really tried to incorporate MMA as opposed to just saying.
I will give them credit for that.
Yeah, so like at least with the pit in NXT, we know it's still a wrestling match. It just happens to be
but that's a bona fide. Like
that's a straight like catch wrestling. Like cool. As opposed to when you say MMA rules, like okay, we're gonna have an actual like Brawl for All. Like those are legit boxing matches, and we let it swing.
Exactly.
It was something like that. Who knows? Maybe Wardlow is more cut out for MMA than we thought, but we saw that jab, so no. But it would have been entertaining. At least AEW tried something different.
But you know when, like, for example, when NXT announces they're having the fight pit, even though we know this is a wrestling match, you know you're gonna get a fight. Like it's going to be good, you know. And at least they're not gonna ever. Oh, it's a fight pit, and at least they do say either submission or knockout. That's the only way you can win in the fight pit.
Yeah,
which is, I guess, what
you don't give them 3 5-minute rounds.
Exactly. So I do give AEW credit for trying something different. I think they are going the right route. I think there is definitely room for AEW to have some type of a working relationship with an MMA company because they can have that setup. They already have an established MMA fighter, so why not use them? So we'll see. Reading some more of your comments, Chris Washington on YouTube. To be honest, Wardlow can be a good MMA boxer, Jose. I'm not joking. Dana White will be happy to sign him. I'm not. Listen, I know he's a boxer. I know he's an excellent judo guy. But MMA is a whole different animal. MMA literally is, it's mixed martial arts. It's a whole different discipline. So you can't just be a boxer and dominate in there, and you have to be able to do groundwork. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything. So I have no doubt that Wardlow can be good with enough training. I have no doubt. He's got the size. He's got the agility. So moving along, man. What else happened in AEW Dynamite Friday? We
got also got to give props. Dean Malenko, man. Dean Malenko, who has repaired his relationship with Chris Jericho. He wound up getting attacked by MJF. So, of course, this is adding more fuel to the fire between the eventual match of MJF and Chris Jericho when it comes through. We got to see another, again, formation of a three-man tag. So last time we had Pac with Penta and Eddie. This time we have Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, as they want to make sure that he's being known as. Dropping a pretty solid promo with Eddie Kingston and Penta and Cero Miedo for their upcoming match in the main event against Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers. But, man, we do got to give it up to Darby Allin. He did stick to his guns. He said he was going to go it alone, and he did. We talked about all the possible shenanigans, but he went one-on-one with the Men of the Year. That is officially their
one on two, right?
The Men of the Year. Yeah, so an actual handicap match versus the Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky and All Ego Ethan Page.
Love it.
But yeah, so
I'm just happy that someone, beat the sense into Darby Allin finally.
Like if he would have gotten away from, like, if somehow miraculously he would have gotten the win over these two guys, like how? Even after he zip tied Ethan Page's feet together, that still wasn't enough to keep him out of the match. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna see more from the Men of the Year when it comes to this tag team division. But of course, one other faction that is really on the come up in AEW, Jose, is the Wingmen. Cesar Benoni, Peter Avalon, Ryan Nemeth, and JD Drake, collectively known as the Wingmen. They had a little something to say about Orange Cassidy. They're trying to spruce up his look, trying to get him away from the Canadian tuxedo, the denim on denim. And they did it in the match. So we had Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Benoni. And in parts of the match, when Orange got kicked out of the ring, they would put like product in his hair, spray like hairspray in his hair. They put a Ryan Nemeth's jacket on him and thrown him back in the ring. But of course, it all came down to Orange Cassidy getting the win, and the best friends came to the aid of Orange Cassidy.
How many people are in the wingmen?
Those 4 guys, man.
Just 4. Because I was about to say, I'm like, so this is like the wrestling version of the Fab Five.
I feel like it should always, like, they should be able to just constantly bring in new guys that they have nothing else to do with. Just because, they're just there to help each other out. They're trying to be each other's wingmen. There's no leader. Just everybody's a wingman. Whoever's in the match, you got to help him out. You help out your man if he's in the match. You do whatever you can to help him win.
And that's why those guys will never be top tier main eventers because there's no leader there. So that's why. Hey
man, they could also when the trios title comes around, you never know.
Well, yeah, man. Chris Washington on YouTube, he's saying Ethan Page is growing on me. Sky has cool. He's finally finding his footing in the industry. But man, Ethan Page cut the promo. Yes, man, I agree. Ethan has definitely grown on me. That guy screams main event talent. Scorpio Sky also top main event talent. Man, I think these guys are going to be big.
Yeah, they're
individually too.
Oh, of course. I think right now is a good place to have them in the tag team division while we have this whole storyline playing out for the AEW Championship. We know it's eventually going to be coming down to Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page because, of course, there was a promo backstage where Alex Marvez interviewed Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order backstage because, of course, Team Taz challenged Hangman Adam Page a one-on-one match because with Brian Cage being distracted by Ricky Starks and they're trying to work out their family drama during their own promo. Taz basically said it was a 2-on-1 match between 10 and Hangman versus Powerhouse Hobbs. But do you have what it takes to be Powerhouse Hobbs 1-on-1? Which of course Hangman accepts here. And then as Alex Marvez doesn't know, wait, you are the number 2, ranked guy for the AEW Championship. So how do you feel about the match between Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy? And Hangman Adam Page quickly just changes topic and don't worry about all that. Like, let's look at John Silver. He's back. He's 100%. And hey, Evil Uno put on one hell of a match against me, or even though he lost, he's still a champ to us. Yay! So they're still playing out this whole storyline at the top of the card until the whole thing resolves. You have a nice little holding pattern for Ethan Page and for Scorpio Sky because again, when they're ready to take that belt off Miro, it can easily go to Ethan Page or Scorpio. These 2 guys are going to be main eventers much sooner rather than later, just after this whole storyline plays out. But one guy that's taken himself out of the title picture was there for a debuting Brock Anderson. I was teaming up with Cody Rhodes to take on QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. And
are you sold on Brock Anderson, Rico?
He's coming along. He's got some, you can tell he's had his, his beginner's courses with his dad and, winning with he tried to do the spine buster, not the same as your dad. It's okay. But, he did get the win with the jackknife cover out of all things.
It wasn't a very good jackknife cover to begin with.
It wasn't. I think the whole polo and shorts look did not, oversell what we were going to get on Friday night. But hey, you know what? He has good pedigree. His dad is amazing. So hopefully he will have time to turn it around under the tutelage of one Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, man. I saw that match and okay. So I've seen really bad matches. It wasn't a bad match. Yeah. I just felt like because Brock comes from, that Anderson family lineage and being trained with, I was honestly expecting a little bit more technicality. I was expecting, he is the son of the legendary Arn Anderson. I was expecting something of that level, but full shame on me for expecting something.
You were expecting Charlotte and you got David.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I'm just talking about the wrestling part.
Yeah. Wow.
But who knows? You got the Nightmare family behind you. So, I mean, they're pushing the hell out of Lee Johnson. You got Cody Rhodes, who again, continues to be out of all the title pictures and is really working on his own little storylines and building his own people. So hopefully we'll have a next, instead of just Brock Lesnar, we got Brock Anderson. That's a future Hall of Famer.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm going to admit something to you. QT Marshall is growing on me. I like what he's doing. I like his little, what he's doing with his guys, the heel tactics that he's doing. He's a hell of a lot more entertaining than Cody Rhodes and what he's doing with the Nightmare family. And just having Nick Comoroto in your team speaks volumes of what this guy can do. So yeah, QT Marshall, and that's how I shall pronounce his name from now on, because that is the way he wants it pronounced. So I will show respect to QT Marshall.
Thank you, Jose. I'm glad you came around to that pronunciation of his name. But yeah, we got a nice promo from Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance Archer. I thought this was just great. They're trying to be patient, but they can't. What do you expect me to do? Sit down and talk? No, I can't do that. No, get out. Whatever. Like, I loved, Jake the Snake just really selling. What can you do with Lance Archer? He had his chance at Miro. He didn't capitalize. So they're trying to be patient, but how are you going to keep the Murder Hawk monster down? Even though is he babyface still? Is he heel in that? I don't know anymore. But we did get to see good old JR talking to Andrade El Idolo. And of course, had some plenty of questions for him. And really, it's like, why did you choose Vicky Guerrero? And I thought that was a great way of tying it in. Like, she knows the business. She created the Guerreros. So, and she comes from a family of wrestlers. I come from a family of wrestlers, so it worked really great. But of course, he puts essentially everybody on notice. He come after the TNT title. He'll come after the AEW title. Doesn't matter, because he is the superstar of superstars here in AEW. So I can't wait for his first match. Man, who do you want to see him face off against first, Jose? Who should Andrade El Idolo debut against? Because all the dream matches are there. Because I want to see Andrade versus Penta and Andrade versus Rey. Those would be amazing matches. But I think that's going to be honestly
down. I only see Andrade versus Kenny, bro. Like, Andrade versus Kenny is going to be Andrade versus Kenny is going to be something.
So you're going to have both the AEW, so have him face against Kenny for the AEW championship on Dynamite, and then have him face against Kenny at like Triple Mania for the AAA title. Just have back-to-back championship matches.
Yeah, and then put all
the title.
Have Andrade be the new bill collector.
I mean, I'm not against that.
So. Honestly, Andrade can have an amazing match with any of those top guys. He can have an amazing match with Cody. He can have an amazing match with Kenny. He can have an amazing match with Scorpio, with Ethan, with Darby. He can have an amazing match with absolutely anybody on that roster who's on that top tier, echelon of the divisions. Miro versus Andrade really intrigues me. I think that is a marquee match for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, Jeff Samuel got that nice list going right there.
But just like you said, Andrade versus Phoenix, Andrade versus Miro, Andrade versus Darby, Andrade versus Pac. So there's no shortage of guys that Andrade can have an amazing match with in AEW. Who is going to be his first match? That's a hard one. Who are you going to build him around? Is he going to go directly to a title? Those are things, because if you're bringing a guy the star caliber of Andrade, and I say the star caliber not because he was in WWE, but this guy was already a star before he came into WWE. He was a star in New Japan. He was a star in Mexico. So Andrade comes with a name. The weight really carries with Andrade. So I think that you have to be very careful on how you're going to put, or who you're going to debut him against. Because I don't think you want to debut him I don't think you want to debut him on Dynamite. I think you want to debut him on a pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view. Yeah. And even in that interview, he said he still has some surprises. So imagine if we get Zelina Vega and we get Tommy End and we get Los Ingobernables, the AEW. Get another faction going.
Jeff Samuels asking on YouTube, what is Andrade's gimmick? Jose, a mafia Mexican boss? No, he's not a mafia Mexican bass, but he's
the
I don't know
idol.
what he's the idol, el ídolo. He's him. He's playing him, but with the volume turned up to 20. That's what Andrade is doing. It's himself, but amplified. Let's see. Joe Davian is asking, Jose, can you please answer? I don't know what you answered, but if you want to go ahead and drop your question again into the comments, I'll go ahead and answer that for you. James
about, Roman Reigns talking on the mic, carrying cross interrupts for the WWE Universal Championship. Ooh, and
right over here.
SmackDown. Yeah, because of course backstage. We did have Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed backstage at SmackDown. They did some dark matches. Apparently, they're going to be on main event that they're going to be showing some of those dark matches on. So expect these two guys to be called up sooner rather than later, probably around the draft. So, be on the lookout for Karrion Kross TikToking his way to either Raw or SmackDown. But speaking of Andrade, we did have Tony Schiavone interviewing Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, being interrupted by Vicky Guerrero, who did say, her client, Nyla Rose, wants a shot at the AEW Women's Championship. But of course, she has a favor to get from Tony Khan because she was able to bring Andrade to AEW. So we're going to get Vicky Guerrero in a match. We're going to get Vicky and Nyla Rose.
I must have missed that.
Yeah. So we're going to get the match, Vicky versus Nyla Rose on June 30th. Sorry, Nikki and Nyla Rose versus Britt Baker, DMD, and Rebel on June 30th. And they officially have a name on being the Elite. So they're Amen, A-M-E-N, and there's an acronym, and I forgot what it stood for. But yeah, we're going to see Vicky Guerrero once again in a wrestling ring in 1 week's time, next Wednesday.
That's crazy to me.
Excuse me, Jose. She's back in the ring.
Excuse me. I can't believe that. I must have missed that. You know what? I was fast forwarding quite a bit through AEW, so I must have missed that. Man, but
yeah,
Vicky Guerrero against Nyla Rose. That's
Vicky and Nyla versus Britt and the Rebel. Yeah,
I feel bad for them.
So yeah, it's really just Britt versus Nyla with Rebel and Vicky just hot tagging him.
Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, Vicky's so getting the pin on that.
Yeah, or Rebel at this point.
Probably.
She will probably pin Rebel. I would not be surprised.
But let's talk about this main event that did not disappoint. We've been talking about these last few AEW Dynamites, how their main event has been, kind of lacking just because of what's been going on with the NBA playoffs. They started off hot with their main event. Definitely, you noticed that in this episode with the, the MMA Cage Fight. But even though this six-man or this tag match was really good. This six-man tag match, Eddie Kingston, Penta, Frankie going up against the Young Bucks and Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers. I mean, that match was really good. And again, we continue to see the nasty nature of the Young Bucks, who, by the way, keep growing on me every single week. And this week was no different because you had Nick help out Matt by spraying the cold compress spray in was it at Eddie Kingston's face?
Penta was on the top of the turnbuckle, and Nick Jackson, which was supposed to be away doing some meetings, some EVP stuff, and of course he comes in and winds up using the healer's tactics to once again get a win for the Good Brothers and Mac Jackson. Yeah, just they continue to just really find their niche as these heels and just keep doubling down on it every single time and just finding other ways to keep adding on to this. So yeah, they're doing their thing, man, especially with the machine gun, Carl Anderson getting the win using basically like a super stun gun, basically using a cutter off of the second turnbuckle. So yeah, they continue to get one up on Eddie Kingston, who does not have John Moxley by his side because he's over there with his new baby girl.
Little baby Nora. Yeah. Reading some more of your comments here. Go ahead and keep coming them in here, guys. Randy Sam on YouTube is saying, what if Vicky, mind blown, calls out someone to team with Nyla Rose? Can it be Shaul Guerrero or Tessa Blanchard?
Bring the Diamond Mind over to AEW. No, that'd be good. I mean, obviously Tessa is still kind of like in limbo right now, right? She hasn't officially signed with anybody, so we'll see. You never know.
Jose has to turn heel on us. You don't supposed to like heels, Jose.
Arriba los rudos.
I like what makes sense and what entertains me, and that happens to be mostly the heels, because I find a lot of them they put a lot of character into their heels, which if you are a good heel and you have people hating you, then you're doing your job right. So I like tons of baby faces too. Don't get me wrong. But I like more heels than baby faces. Mickey James Boatwright saying Lana going to join her man in AEW. I hope so. I would like to see Lana or CJ Perry with Miro over at AEW. What do you think? How would you book her on AEW?
Can we bring back the Ravishing Russian? Like, can she go back to just trying to keep that accent and not switching between it mid promo? I would love to see that, but we're probably not going to get that. We're going to get basically, Miro is always thankful to God for his hot wife, and we're going to see that.
I thank Jesus for my hot wife and for my strength.
Wife. Yeah, so she's going to be the hot wife.
Love it.
So he's the best man, and she's the hot wife. That's going to be her thing.
Yeah. Hey, they had Lana Day and Rusev Day, so now Miro and the hot wife.
And especially with that, I guess they're kind of going with the crazy storyline with Miro when he came out with Penelope Ford getting the win over Julia Hart, and she asked, "Where's Kip Sabian? You're being triple team. It's 3-on-1," and he comes to the aid of Penelope Ford, even though he was the one that injured Kip Sabian and wound up taking out all of Varsity Blondes by himself. So I'm wondering exactly where they're going with the storyline with Miro.
Doesn't matter. You know why, though? Because Miro is a gentleman. He knows what he needs to do in the right time. And he did what any other gentleman would do. And that is, respond to a damsel in distress. Clearly, she was in distress, wasn't she?
She was holding onto the Indian Deathlock onto Julia Hart, who was the one that was... Yeah, she was the one beating down Julia Hart as the Varsity Blondes were in the ring like, we can't do anything because she's a woman and we don't want to hit a woman. And then Miro comes out and then he's like, what happened to Kip Sabian? He's not here to help you, but we have 3-on-1. We have these Varsity Blonde guys in the ring, and he winds up laying them out. So, yeah.
Jason Michael on YouTube saying, bring back Aiden English with Lana. I love Aiden English. By the way, we have an exclusive interview with Aiden English. You can check it out on our YouTube, so make sure you are subscribing it. We have a great half-hour interview with Chris Featherstone, talks about his time in WWE with Rusev and Lana and the whole storyline with Bobby Lashley, dives into it. So make sure you guys are checking that out on our YouTube. Great interview. Reading some more of your comments before we head out for tonight. We have Rorito joining us from Puerto Rico, and we have multiple questions. Even Philip Chavin is asking, who is in Diamond Mine? Well, let me tell you guys, Diamond Mine debuted yesterday on NXT. And as you guys can see, we have Roderick Strong, Tyler Rust, Hideki Suzuki, and managing this trio of diamonds is Malcolm Bivens.
Malcolm Bivens. Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see what they do with them. Hopefully they don't drop the ball, but it's NXT. I have faith.
Well, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us for these last 45 to 50 minutes of your times as we talked about NXT and AEW. If you're watching us on demand, make sure you are hitting that like button and share button. Make sure you are sharing right now. If you're watching us on Facebook in your favorite wrestling group, tag your friends in the comment section, because in the morning, you guys, we're going to have people that are watching this all over the world. We have people from India, Tanzania, the Philippines, Australia, everywhere. So make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're liking. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that way you are up to date whenever we drop a brand new video. Exclusive interviews right now with Aiden English. Right now on our YouTube, we have Vince Russo on Mondays, Wednesday night. We have us on the Debrief, Rico and myself. Friday nights, we got Dirty Dutch Mantel on Smack Talk, breaking down everything from SmackDown with SP3 and Rick Ucchino, plus our top 5 videos that are dropping on a daily basis on Facebook and on YouTube. So, guys, we want to thank you again so much for joining us. For Rico El Glorioso, I am Jose G. And remember, guys, when you are watching wrestling, what's the most important thing they can do, Rico?
enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling.